Hello YouTubians, it's Russ Samlin again with today's installment of which bank is going to fail next. Well, it's interesting. I thought there were going to be a lot more failures and we stopped at three really, and a fourth was absorbed earlier this week in Switzerland, Credit Suisse. So you might think, wow, everything's stable now. But now you have the ripple effect that's going to hit. Whenever you throw that proverbial pebble into the pond, those ripples go out, or as a former boss of mine used to like to say, because he liked to play billiards, when you hit the ball, the billiard ball, it's going to hit another one, and then you don't know what's going to happen after that. You need to make sure when you hit the ball that you know where the other ones are going to go. So anyway, we had three banks that failed, but it's stable in the U.S. for right now. And we had another bank that was sold at a fire sale price for about, 15% of the value of the bank last month. It was purchased by UBS. So what does that mean? That means a lot of people that had shares in Credit Suisse are now left a lot less wealthy. And who are those people? Well, I'm in Qatar, so we'll start in the Middle East. So first and foremost, the Saudi National Bank, which is really their sovereign fund, they lost a big chunk of money because they own 10%, almost 10% of Credit Suisse. And then the second biggest one was the Qatar Sovereign Fund, or the Qatar Investment Authority, I think is what they call it. But it's basically a sovereign fund. And they were the second largest investment group for Credit Suisse. So when UBS came in and rescued the bank, I think it was yesterday, became official, they bought it at a fire sale price. So basically, the Saudi National Bank put in a investment infusion of capital of $1.5 billion for a 9.9% stake in Credit Suisse. And I think they did that probably about 6 months ago. And so now that stake, as of this morning, is 280 million. So from 1.5 billion down to 280 million. So you had $1.50, and now you got a quarter. That's what that means. You're sitting with $1.50, and now you got a quarter. That's a pretty big drop in value for the Saudi sovereign fund. Now they've got money, but nobody likes to lose that kind of money, right? So let's see what else happened. The Qatar Investment Fund had almost a 7% stake, 6.8%, and they were increasing it up until 2 months ago. They were putting more and more money in just to try to help, and it looked like a bargain. I mean, it did. I mean, who would think a Swiss bank would have financial problems, right? So they lost, 90% of that investment. So they've had a lot of scandals. They've had a lot of people that have been arrested. Just not stuff that you expect from a Swiss banker, right? So what caused the panic in Swiss bank? Well, they say that there was this impromptu, I think on Fox Business or on MSNBC, there was an impromptu interview with the Saudi National Bank chairman. And they asked him point blank, I'm trying to remember his name. Well, actually, I found his name. His name is Amr al-Qadari. They asked him last Wednesday, it was on Bloomberg television, I'm looking at it right now. They asked him, are you going to help bail out Swiss Bank? Are you going to put more money in? And he said, absolutely not. He didn't stop the thing. And then he backpedaled a little bit and said, we're 9.9%. If we go over 10, it causes a lot of regulatory issues and blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, it was a mic drop moment. He said, absolutely not. So that's when the selling began in earnest. So people who had shares in Swiss Bank sold like crazy. But the bank did not go under. The only people who lost money with Credit Suisse were the people that owned shares in the company, but the investors, but the people who had shares, they had savings accounts, they had um, um, credit instruments, they had investment funds. None of that was lost. So hooray, hooray on that. So for now, nothing else has happened with Credit Suisse or the people that had money there. But what has happened is the government of Qatar and the government of Saudi Arabia lost a lot of money. A lot of money. They have money to lose, but still, if global powerhouses financially keep losing money, sooner or later it's going to get to a tipping point. We're not at a tipping point now. Um, I thought we were getting a little closer, but we're not. But just, I say this every time I have a video about expat finance. If you save money in a bank, which you should, make sure that you diversify. In other words, have more than one bank. If you have more than $250,000 in the US, then make sure you have two banks. If you have more than $500,000, make sure you have three different banks. If you have more than $1 million and you're saving it, make sure you have that in at least 5 banks. That way, the FDIC will guarantee every cent that you have. If you have 2 banks, 1 bank, or 3 banks, and you have over $1 million saved, you're going to lose some money if one of those banks fail. You will. So keep under 250,000. And global banks are not impervious to this. Some of you know that I worked at a bank in Kuwait, and we had a bank run there. Fortunately, at that time, the government was able to bail them out. Who knows what will happen in the future, but they were able to bail them out back in 2008. So part of my plan, I've got 5 banks in the U.S. Not that I have $1 million, but I have 5 banks. I'm one of the dreamers. And those 5 banks, in case you want to know again, Velocity, which I think is okay. Camden National Bank in Maine, which is okay. They treat me nice. They used to give me a cup of coffee as well as Velocity. They don't anymore, though. They blame it on COVID. And then I've got Dover Federal Credit Union, which used to be great. Dover Federal Credit Union used to be fantastic. Not anymore. I'm sorry, Dover Federal. Then I've got USAA, which I love, and they also have the best car insurance on the planet. And then my 5th is Navy Federal Credit Union, which takes care of us veterans. And Navy Federal also is known for having the best credit cards. I'm not really doing credit cards, but it's a good one for any of you expats and veterans because you do need to have credit. In spite of what Dave Ramsey says, you do need to have some credit. And you had to have a good credit score for your security clearance. If you want to be a cop, if you want to be in the military, if you want to work for federal agencies, need to have a good credit score. Sorry, Dave Ramsey, you're wrong. If you have no credit score, you're not going to get a top secret clearance. and Dave Ramsey's a nice guy. He's a great guy. I know a lot of you love him. I love him in terms of how to pay off your debts, and that's going to be a whole different video series I'm going to be throwing at you guys. But that's it. I have my 5 in the U.S., and my 5 that I have are only, the other offshore ones are only in Qatar. I'm in Qatar. So the 5 that I have here are Doha Bank, which I love. I can buy gold there, and I am in a drawing to win a lot of money every month. I have QIB, which also has a drawing for millions every month. And I have Hali Bank, same thing, has drawings so I can win the lottery. And then Dukhan Bank, same thing, it has the lottery. And then I've also got a salary account where I get paid through QNB, which is really rock solid. So I also collect gold and silver. I stack, I hide it. I don't tell anybody where it is. I have a little bit, I don't have a lot, but I do hold it, I do possess it. So I strongly recommend you guys to do that. You know, it's good to have different banks too, because I call them my money ditching accounts, because one thing that I do, you guys are gonna like this, in the US, I buy coins from the bank. I buy coin rolls of quarters, dimes, and $50 from a bank. I'll go in and buy $500, $1,000 worth, then I go through and I search very quickly and look for coins that are before 1964. In the United States, coins, the quarters, dimes, and half dollars had 90% silver in them. And then for the halves between 65 and 69, they had 40% silver. So I look for those, and it's a way to get free silver. And then I have a dump bank, a different bank, where I redeposit it. So that's what I do when I'm in the United States. I always look for free silver. I try to buy silver when I can afford it. Silver and gold are great. I also go to the coin stars. When you go shopping, ladies and gentlemen, in the United States and in the UK, on your way out, go look at the coin star. Trust me on this, because the coin star, what happens is it rejects the things that don't weigh the right amount. And old silver coins, quarters, dimes, and half dollars that are pre-64 that have silver in them are rejected. And a lot of people, they just walk away and leave it there as trash. They just think, oh, it's just trash. So I always walk by and I scoop, and I must have, I don't know, gotten thousands of silver coins over the years from Coinstar. I'm not kidding. So get your free silver from Coinstar and get your free silver from Coin Roll Hunting. And I have a third one where I found tons of silver and gold earrings and old wheat pennies. You can look at my old YouTube to see it, from the vacuum cleaners at car washes. Now it's a little dirty, you got to wear Dawn gloves and all that and a mask, but people vacuum it up in their car and they don't care. They're vacuuming them up, and maybe somebody else in their car lost their earrings, So I found a lot of silver and gold earrings. I found a lot of old, not as many silver coins, but I found some silver coins. But for some reason, I found a lot of wheat pennies. And guess what, guys? A penny from before 1983 in the United States, how much is it worth? You might say it's worth 1 cent, right? Wrong. You're not allowed to melt coins, but if you did, that 1 penny is worth 3 cents now, because copper has been going up in value. So copper is now the poor man's silver. And I got a lot of copper coins. And if I accidentally melt them, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to melt them. I don't know how they got in front of my welding kit. I didn't mean to. I don't know what happened. but you can. I don't know if you would get in trouble for melting the pre-83s, but you're not allowed to deface U.S. currency. But the salient point is they are worth 3 cents now instead of 1 cent, because copper going up. I've gone off on a tangent, and I see I'm already over 12 minutes, so I apologize. I just want to talk again about Credit Suisse. It was absorbed. The sovereign wealth funds of Qatar and Saudi Arabia lost huge amount of money. Saudi Arabia, they went from about $1.50 down to 25 cents. And Qatar went from about $1.25 down to about 15 cents. So they both lost a lot of money. Hundreds of millions of dollars. It's hard to believe, hard to fathom. So, ladies and gentlemen, keep an eye on things. Get yourself some gold and silver discreetly. Hold on to it discreetly. Lock it up discreetly. Don't trust anybody in your family and of your friends. Don't trust anybody in knowing about it. Nobody can know about it, and no one can know where it is. Because in trying times, people, they might say, oh, that guy down the corner, he's got some silver. Let's go jack him up and get his money. Let's go get his silver. Seriously, when the stuff hits the fan, that could happen. So be really careful. And then the other thing is make sure that you diverse your banks. I have 5 in the U.S. and 5 in Qatar. As many of you know, I'm ending my contract in Qatar now. So I turned 60 in May, hip hip hooray. Not allowed to work here after 60. So I'm looking for banks that'll let me open outside of the United States without having to physically be there. I did find one bank in the United Arab Emirates that I'll open that I don't have to be there. And I think there's 2 or 3 of them where you can have a savings account and you can be in these drawings to win the lottery, and you can just visit once. You don't have to be a resident. So, I mean, before I leave Qatar in the Middle East, I might just make a quick trip to Dubai and open up, as many bank accounts as I can while I'm there that allow you to have one if you're not a resident. Because I will have to close my banks in Qatar when I leave here, because in Qatar, you must have a job and you must have a salary certificate, you must have a Qatar ID in order to have a bank account here. So end of life here, when I leave my job here, I won't be able to keep these bank accounts, unfortunately. So if anybody has any ideas for me of where I can open up bank accounts where it's safe and it's not hard to get to, or I can do it remotely, let me know. Put it in the notes below. Please like and sub and share this with everybody. I want to keep doing a lot of videos on expat finance. I think it's important how you save money when you're outside the United States, how you improve your credit or preserve your credit. I also do, because I'm into customer experience and call centers, I have some blogs going and podcasts going on that. And if I can ever afford to buy some gold and silver again, I'll start showing some coins again on that. So that's all I got for you today. Please like and sub and make it a great day.